If you have an issue with this podcast, you are not alone. I also have an issue with this podcast. And I would like to voice my complaint right now. So, as you know, hopefully, that Will and I started this podcast to hang out together. At the time, we were not hanging out together as often, which was closer to basically never. And so we decided to do this podcast, and we called it Bad Brothers because it helps that it's an alliteration, and it gave us a little something to talk about when we were first starting the podcast. Is we're brothers, we're bad brothers, we're getting to be better brothers. And at the beginning, if you remember, we said we were going to do this. We were going to publish every other week.
Oh.
And we did that. Well, we said we were going to do 4 weeks in a row. We're going to release the first 4.
Oh.
Just to get some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then every other week after that.
Mm.
However, we only did that the very first time.
The episode 5.
Yes. So when we get to a year, instead of having 52 episodes, because it'd be 52 weeks,
we need 53.
Ever since then, we've done every week. We just skipped the one. So that means when we get to a year, it's going to
When's
be
that?
June something. June, we're going to have 51 episodes. And that is my issue with the podcast. Sometime in between now and June, where it can't be a 0.5.
Right.
We can do more 0.5s. I wouldn't mind. Like if we did like a snip catch up or something.
Someone just said to me yesterday, I listened to you guys' podcast, and then it was like later in the week, and I wish you guys did 2 a week. They just said that yesterday.
I don't know what kind of... They must really like you as a friend, because...
That's what I said.
Really?
Yes. They wanted more.
Wow.
Was that pretty good?
That was really good. Your voice, it kind of sounds like that to begin with.
Wow.
But you're not as nasal.
Wow.
The first one was the best.
Wow. I don't think whenever I talk, my pitch will never change that much in the whole sentence. How much range can you do? Wow.
Probably about that.
It loses its
Do
luster.
I still move my eyebrows a lot when I talk?
Like Ethan Klein?
No, not like if there's any H3 podcast fans.
I can't even do it. He does a wave with his...
He's got the hardcore twitch.
Like Emilia Clarke?
Does she have expressive eyebrows?
Yeah. Daenerys Targaryen.
What things did you get made fun of as a kid? Like that, like eyebrows. Like people always said stuff about my eyebrows, and like
really,
yeah, like they were always like way up in there.
Some kids called me Will Brownie. I want to eat you. What else? Being too smart.
Somebody said I had big eyes once, but I don't think I had big eyes, but I do kind of get too intense sometimes. It's a little bit of a problem maybe, and then maybe I just have like...
Have you heard of this?
Intense eyes and eyebrows going on.
Have you heard of the curse where if you have white that shows on the bottom of your eyes? Naturally.
You are Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, so there's
a curse?
Yeah. It has a name. I'm trying to think. Can't think of like a physical thing I got made fun of.
I had eyes.
Big feet.
Yeah, big feet for sure. But I also had this like I don't know if I have like an arched back. You know, what's that called when you get
Lumbar lordosis?
What's it called when your lower back is stronger than your abs?
And your butt sticks out?
Yeah, and you kind of
Lumbar lordosis.
lower doses?
Lordosis.
Lordosis. Yeah, I don't know if I have that because
Instagram butt. Yeah.
Kardashian butt. But yeah, I always used to like, people would say I'd like walk with my chest out or kind of hips. So people would
Lumbar lordosis. You got
people
it.
say I have like a gay walk. And sometimes when, I'm not saying gay people walk like that. Gay people can walk however they want.
Yeah.
But when you're children, sometimes you don't have as wide a view on the world to say, yeah, gay people can walk that way.
Yeah.
So when you, or anyway. So when they see me, they say, oh, that's a gay walk. You must be gay because you have lumbar lordosis.
Yeah. You got your booty popping.
I mean, what's easier to say? Gay or lumbar lordosis? Exactly.
Booty popping, booty rocking.
And so sometimes I catch myself like kind of like
and then you
sometimes
and you clench your butt cheeks.
Sometimes I catch myself kind of like twisting my hips a little,
catwalking.
And I'm like, maybe I do got a little sugar in the tank.
Pep in the step.
Lighten the loafers. Why is there all those things?
We love our LGBTQ listeners.
I wonder if we do have any.
Well, there's John.
Oh, I see what you did there. That was, and I'm not going to stand for it.
You were just standing.
And I sat down.
All right.
That's all you got?
What?
What else did I get made fun of for?
Dude, I was just cool.
Gay walking.
Not watching The Simpsons.
One time I got ticketed for gay walking.
Are you going to handcuff me? Don't use your nightstick on me.
Trying to drink that drink of water.
Okay. The Japanese sanpaku, probably saying that wrong, curse. When you have white showing under the iris in your relaxed state, like just how your eyes be. Michael's checking the
I'm trying to get
facing camera.
I'm trying to get into a relaxed state.
Oh, there's two different versions. It's if you have it below or above. You don't have it. Your eyes aren't normally like that.
See, my eyes are my eyes do look kind of buggy, but it's because I have extreme bags under my eyes.
Do I have bags on my eyes? I feel like you do sometimes.
You can't tell.
Oh yeah, your glasses are off.
You have a little, but yeah, I have a lot.
Yeah. So it translates sanpaku to three whites, which refers to dividing up the eye into three pieces, and the whites taking up three of the four segments. One on each side, above and below.
Weird.
So normally, you wouldn't really notice it, but it can be an indicator of your fate. It really took off because Japanese author George Osawa began predicting the deaths of famous American figures such as Marilyn Monroe and JFK, who had the extra white section.
Now, I'm going to try to tread lightly here, but it seems like maybe why would stereotypically you might say
I see why you're treading.
Because of the eye shape of certain ethnicities,
Mm-hmm.
there's not as much eye showing.
You might get lucky if you have the two.
And
on the
so
sides.
it might be a bigger deal. You might notice it more. It might be a bigger thing.
Less common.
Yes. To see some white above or below.
Yeah.
And so you create a curse around it. Where if Joe Schmo, like big eyes from a different ethnicity, was like, yeah, there's a bunch of us are like that. It's fine.
Yeah. If you have a white below your eyes, then look out. Because the world is out to get you. It means you're in danger from the outside world, such as JFK.
Yeah. I can't go there.
And then if you have white above your eyes, it means the outside world is a danger to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, that's the below. The above means
You're a danger.
the inside world is a danger to you. You're unable to control your emotions and leads you to do terrible things, i.e. Charles Manson.
That's drugs.
Top eye. Hey.
That is drugs.
So yeah.
Oh, speaking of Charles Manson,
Sanpaku. Sanpaku.
you know who's back?
Back in black.
Nightmare Collective Pod.
Oh yeah.
I listened to it. I expected a shout out since we tagged them like a bunch of times. Talked about them. Okay.
Threw him under the bus.
I'm gonna throw them under the bus again.
Oh man.
Because here they just took off from November to March, and then they come back on the end of the episode, and by the end of the episode they're like, oh man, you guys want more content from us? We're thinking of starting 2 more podcasts. I'm like, 2 more podcasts? You can't do your 1 podcast.
Oh man, called out.
But
You listened to the whole thing?
I skipped. I did forward 30 a few times.
You did ×2 speed.
No, I don't do that. I can't stand that.
No, I can't do that either.
But I'm not going to talk about them anymore because they're not in competition for Port Orchard's finest podcast. So that's it from me about Nightmare Collective Pod. But you just mentioned Charles Manson, and then they came back this week from their hiatus or sabbatical.
Did they say why they were
I'm not sure if
on?
they're religious, so either one.
Did they say why they were on it?
Just life. Some of them needed like a mental break. Some of them were just life.
That's what happens when you talk about murderers and stuff all the time. It's draining.
It's draining. Shoot. What were we talking? Okay, you were talking about seppuku.
Asian eyes, gays.
Man, I thought it's something good to talk about, and I can't think about it now. But
I don't know.
Maybe this isn't what I was going to say.
Princess Diana.
No, I was going to say, but there's not like, to me, that's just like, that sounds like horoscope stuff. It's like whites above and whites below. It's like,
well,
it's like the world is going to hate you.
Endanger you. The outside world or the inside world.
I know, but
Billie Eilish, she's got extra white on the bottom. That girl that just
don't call her
won.
Billie Eilish for nothing.
That girl that just won
Your
Golden
thumb's
Globes,
over her.
Best Actress, chess girl.
Oh, I didn't see her.
What's her name?
I didn't watch that show. She's from the Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. Queen's Gambit.
But I do think it's interesting because this is what I was going to say. I was going to say, you know, obviously the eye thing, it's just genetics. It's like whites above, whites below, how big your eyelids are or whatever. it doesn't mean the world is going to dislike you more or not. But actually, I was going to say that it doesn't mean the world is going to dislike you more or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true, because your genetics do determine some of the way you are or aren't
Yeah.
going to be treated.
Like your eyebrows or lumbar lordosis.
People treat like beautiful people better.
Oh,
They assume more.
Someone did call me a Holocaust victim one time
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was really skinny.
Yeah, look on episode,
We talked about that.
and I'm going to edit.
I'm sorry, that file could not be identified.
And it's like a implicit, is that what it's called? Implicit bias, or like subconscious bias
Mm-hmm.
that the majority of people can have against.
It's also like those people whose forehead like slants back from their
Yeah.
eyes. It's just weird. They say that's like an older genome than other people.
Neanderthal head.
Yeah. You big old Neanderthal head. Brett Garrett.
In third grade, they always called me Neanderthal head. I'm like, can't you just say gay? It's shorter. But they're like, no, we actually learned this one. I was like, whoa, wait till you hear about lumbar lordosis or whatever it is. What is it? Lordosis.
Lordosis.
Did you look it up? Was that right? Did you say it right?
I didn't look it up. I was pretty sure I was right. I can confirm.
But yeah, I mean, I know because I am such a beautiful person that I get treated differently when I go out, and I hate it.
Oh,
And I say
I threw an extra syllable in there.
Oh,
It's just lordosis.
lordosis.
Yeah.
A curving inward of the lower back. Wait, you don't have to say lumbar because it just...
Well, I guess not. I have always heard lumbar lordosis or lordosis. Lordosis.
Oh, you know who needs to come out? 2021 will be complete if Lorde comes out with an album this year. Lorde.
I sent you that Lord remix.
What?
Yeah. On the
Sorry.
talk.
I've been space. Oh, yeah. On the talk. Yeah. Yeah. It was all right.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good
It was
time.
fun.
It was fun.
This kind of like can be such an insult to somebody. Like, yeah, this is fun, or that's fun. Like when they get really excited about something, then you go, that's fun.
It was fun. That's what I mean about us and laughing on this podcast. I mean, sometimes in my head, I'm like, that's funny, I guess.
You laughed when I said, "Are you going to use your nightstick?"
Do you ever have to... I actually have to consciously... think about laughing out loud while
But then
we're podcasting.
Sometimes something really catches me, on Instagram or whatever, and I just laugh out loud.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it has to be like surprising. To really surprise.
Okay, that was one of the things I said about my... Okay, this is where I'm at with my mental health
Oh yeah.
right now.
You said it's like it has to be shocking to get any sort of emotional response.
Yeah, my emotional range is like right here. And then to get outside of that middle band, it has to take something shocking or like surprising. Like even something funny, it's like stuff that I know is funny or like appreciate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make me
LOL.
But if I am surprised by it, if it takes me off guard,
Yeah.
that's the only way I can LOL.
Do you think it also has to do with like being around other people laughing? Because
yeah,
like sometimes
that's definitely a big part of it.
when you like watch a movie like with a bunch of people and everybody gets laughing,
mhm.
it's like easier to laugh. And then if you're just like a loner by yourself, it's harder to.
That's what like comedians will say about like comedy clubs, like like they want people like sitting right next to each other because even 200 people in a room spread out, is harder to generate the kind of laughs that 200 people all sitting, right next to each other will create.
Right.
Kind of like when you're giving a sermon and everybody's like spread out.
I know.
You got some good jokes in there.
I know. It's good at my sermons.
Okay. I do have a church gripe for the week. And Will and I, now, I have to be careful because this involves the church I go to, but it's okay. Just, this is a philosophical difference. It's not a personal difference. I think, but see, there's a few things on this podcast. I think like, okay, how many people like care about this? I don't want to get like too like, have you ever noticed in John 4:7 or something? Not like I'm like that all the time, but I
think we can keep it relatable.
Yeah, I think so. They, so
what verse is it?
There's this kind of thing that has gotten popular. Okay, well, a 501c3, which most churches are.
Oh, where they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, where they don't pay tax because they're like a charitable organization. And no, I think the idea that most churches are not charitable organizations. I do think churches should try to fix overhead problems because they do spend too much money on buildings, land, that kind of thing.
Flyers.
They can strip it down a little bit and be fine.
Posters.
But overall, they're trying to do good things. But so most churches are 501c3s. So, and one of the things that means is if I give you money and I can designate it for a fund or a certain type of spending, and you are legally obligated to spend it on that, and you can't spend it on anything else unless I say so.
Mm-hmm.
So like what churches will do is something like for money that goes to missions, somebody will sign their check, $15 missions. They have to spend that $15 on some kind of missions work. They can't take part of it and go, well, actually the parking lot needs recovered. So, that's missions, right?
They can't do that. They have to do that?
Yep. They have to do that.
And do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, I hope they do, but they do. And if whoever they're using as their accountant will tell them. I mean, there's some other stuff like at the church, it's like the church had the daycare.
Right.
It's like, and the school, it's like if money is tight and you're like, well, who's paying the electricity bill or something, that you can fudge there, but they don't usually fudge on funds, and because it's such a legal
non-fungible.
But so part of the thing that means is if stuff is designated too specifically, it can sometimes be hard to spend money on maybe a project that you want to spend money on because it's too specific. So one of the things that church has been doing is having these funds, and they'll call it like their global fund, or like we have something called Kingdom Builders Fund. And so under that umbrella is like missions, church planting, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
The reason how I heard about it is through Mark Driscoll.
Mm-hmm.
And I got really into Mark Driscoll.
Yeah,
a few years ago, he was at this place, Mars Hill, in Seattle.
He's still alive?
He's still alive.
He's still with us?
I drove by his church in Arizona because I wanted to see it just for kicks and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's like a pathological liar, crazy person. And one of the things about him is they had this thing at their church, and it was called the Global Fund.
And didn't they do the concert, and it was like they sold all the beer, and everybody got all weirded out about it, and all the money from the beer was going to build wells or something? Cups for Cups.
Oh no, that was East Lake.
Oh.
Sure, East.
Yeah.
Something had an East. Matt knows what it is.
Yeast.
East Lake. Yeet. And East Lake is different. And anyways, so they had this thing called the Global Fund.
Right.
And it's got global in the name, right?
Right.
And so you might, and under that umbrella of the Global Fund was their missions. So like you would see them like distributing Bibles in Ethiopia or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when everything kind of like started breaking out of the way he would spend money, like trying to get him on the New York Times bestseller list, so they bought all his books with the church money, things like that, is they found out that in this Global Fund, you know, a tiny percentage, you know, like 1% or less of the money was going to global missions projects. The majority of the money was helping them buy buildings so they could do like new campuses around Seattle, because they had like 15 campuses or whatever. And when you're buying property in Seattle, that could cost, you know, a few $1 million or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's kind of like unethical, because you are sort of advertising this as, you know, this missions thing you're doing. And it was like on their website, like global. Do you want to contribute to the Global Fund?
Picture of a kid with flies on his eyes.
Exactly where I am going to get to, because, and so somehow in the meantime, I don't know if that's where I don't know if Mars Hill like created that or not, but I would guess not. Yeah, the idea of it.
Yeah.
But the idea has since become popular in other churches. And there is some practical, that's why I brought that up at the beginning. It's like there is some like practical like sense to it, which is sometimes a church's money can be designated so specifically it's hard to have the cash ready to be able to like meet a certain need or get involved in a certain project, because that money is all designated to these other things. But the sort of temptation is to put a dirty brown kid on the booklet that says Kingdom Builders Fund.
Yeah.
And say like, yeah, but we're giving our money to, you know, backpacks for kids in going back to school, and we are going to give this money to start this new campus, and they need a sound system, and even though like they belong to your church, and then part of that money is also how we give to missions. But what gets the top billing and whose picture is on the front, you know, it's some kid with a deflated soccer ball.
Yeah. And
you can see the little, you know, lice growing in their hair.
Yeah. Deflated soccer ball and inflated stomach because they haven't eaten in 2 weeks.
Exactly. And so that's sort of the temptation of it. And that's something our church got into. And I tried to say, like, I was talking to Scott once and saying, like, hey, there is a temptation to do that. And so I think here are the steps they should take to sort of like not do that. I actually don't think it's a good idea to begin with. There's other ways you can do that. Turns out it was already in the works.
Ooh.
And it was already pretty much a done deal.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, someone could have told me that before I just went off on it for an hour. But anyways, so that's just one kind of thing. It's like, it's hard. And that's kind of what I was talking with you about this week, is like, to me, that's like a legitimate thing. And I know why there's practical reasons, you know, to go that way. I know what the temptations are for it.
Right.
But I don't always know, like, even on this podcast, but I just wanted to bring it up, and just to even talk about this part, which is, I don't want to come across always who's somebody who's like bashing church or whatever, because even the things that I don't like about my church are things that usually I know they come from a good place or whatever, or even some of the things that I think are dumb about my church or other churches or church culture. It's like I can sort of see the genesis of them and sort of have like my own sort of like forgiveness about them or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's hard, but I don't.
It's not like 100% of everything's going to line up with your beliefs or just, I don't know, ideas and whatnot.
It's like how we were talking about, like, you know, Mom, if she heard that, she would not like me saying that because that makes the church look bad. That makes, you know, whatever. Don't say that in front of Will. Don't say that in front of like people who aren't Christian because then they don't know or whatever. But to me, it's like, I think that would be the thing that people want to hear, that, you know, they're trying to get things right and trying to, you know, figure it all out rather than just.
Yeah, because then, I mean, it would come, maybe that would take longer for someone to realize, but like something that, you know, they're going to notice at some point.
Yeah. I don't think
like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. The problem is there's always a Mark Driscoll to ruin everybody's reputation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like no matter what field you're in, it's like accounting. There's always like shady accountants, or there's always somebody who's going to run a business, you know, that is.
Yeah, they do something shady.
They do something shady that taints every other, you know, buddy in that business or in that town or whatever. It's like, and so it's hard because there are these, it seems like the most high profile people always do the worst things, but it's probably why they're in that position to begin with.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean the Joe Schmo who has a church of like 60 old people is there, like, you know, grifting off of them. They're probably just, you know, just doing what they think is the right thing or whatever.
Right. Yeah. There always can be someone like that Robert Pattinson movie, Tom Holland.
Oh, I never watched that.
It was pretty good. Speaking of Robert Pattinson, he has 3 white sections on his eye.
Oh, what's his problem?
Kristen Wiig slighted him
Eating up
when they
from the
broke
inside.
up.
No, he slighted her. Remember?
No. I don't remember. But did I say Kristen Wiig?
Yeah, Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart. Is she a lesbian now?
Yeah, but still, she's up there on my top. I just love her. I can't not.
That's funny.
I know she won't.
Thought of
I
another
know
one.
Never in a million years now she won't reciprocate, but doesn't matter. Still love her.
I thought of another one. Cassie David, Larry David's daughter. She's very
she's kind of
interesting
like
looking.
popular right now.
She had just had a book come out that was kind of popular. But yeah. You know.
Anyways, I don't know why I brought that up. That was on my mind because they talked about money and stuff this week.
Well, we were talking also about, I was talking about going back to church and how it's like every church, there's going to be something you don't like, but I was just trying to figure out like why.
And now I'm ruining it.
Yeah, jeez. No, it's like why. What do I want to get out of it more than what, and where am I going to find this perfect, you know, unicorn church?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's going to be some priest diddling a little boy somewhere, but just got to hope it's not you.
Yeah. There are churches that are more perfect than others.
Right.
Yeah. But, yeah, I know what you mean. It's crazy.
Are we going to edit this?
I guess.
I've tried to.
Probably.
I don't know what to talk about.
Now I have to leave that in there.
Wait, tell me about sex on the couch. How much time is left?
We're at 36 minutes. You want me to talk about sex on the couch?
Everybody wants to know.
Okay. So, like Will and I have talked about, we write things in this little note thing that we have for the podcast, and sometimes it's a surprise what the other person has written.
Mm-hmm.
Like Will wrote something that he won't tell me what it is. I wrote something that
What did I not tell you what it was?
the D.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just said we can't talk about it.
Okay.
It's time.
Exactly. That's
time
what
sensitive.
I said. That's what I said. I said
You didn't ask me what it was.
I brought it up. It's same diff. Anyways, what happens with me is I write notes in there that I think are detailed enough, and then I look at them later and I think Will wrote them.
Yeah.
And I don't remember writing them at all. And I don't know what this had to do with anything, so I am racking my brain to try to connect it. Here, I will connect it to what we were just saying because Will wants me to bring it up out of nowhere. And so I'll say it like this. I feel like I did have a good church experience overall.
Oh, did this have to do with that song? Remember I sent you the song about?
No, it didn't, but also Will sent me a good song about getting purposefully diddled at church.
Yeah, purposefully in like youth group.
Youth group kids finding a
Hormone-filled youth group kids.
yeah. And so overall positive experience. I will tell you
Purposefully diddled. I have to remember that.
episode title.
Please.
I was gonna say, I think I wanted to talk about it in the context of like parties and not about church.
Yeah.
Because the church was not the important part of the story of the church. Because like when I was growing up, I was like either working or doing church activities. We had like a fun youth group. We were always like playing basketball or hanging out or whatever. Like we were always doing something every weekend, you know, sometimes multiple nights on the weekends. And, you know, I wasn't.
Long Lake. Did you go there?
Yeah, Long Lake in the summer. But when it was like cool to do Long Lake in the summer and there'd be a bunch of us.
Yeah.
Not later when it was like not as cool. I had like a prime youth group time.
Yeah, there was a lot of people.
And yeah, this is more in the context of parties. So like I was like always hanging out on the weekends with youth group. I wasn't like,
you weren't going to these ragers.
I wasn't going to any ragers. The one rager I tried to go to, this was actually an anti-rager. I pretty much just went because it was this girl down the street that I sort of liked, but sort of like we were friends with. I
Down
mean,
our street?
yes, who lived near us, right on like Richards or whatever. One of those.
Past the four-way stop. And
Yeah,
she babysat me one time.
Did she?
Her family drove Saabs.
Yes. Did she babysit you one time?
Yeah, just like one time.
Yeah. That's weird.
What's her name?
Andrea Garten. Or is it Andrea? I think she got married to like a really rich person and might be personally rich herself.
Oh, MGTOW.
Anyway, I liked her. She was nice. One of the things that she was doing, there was only a couple people over at her house and maybe more came over later, but it was kind of funny because I was just like there to like say hi to her, basically.
She was in choir, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was there just kind of like say hi to her. And it was more like, it wasn't like a party. It was like, hey, some of my friends are hanging out.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if I got invited. I was just
We
there.
lived conveniently close.
Yeah.
Invited by proximity.
Yeah, exactly. And it was kind of funny because she was like filling like shots up with water in the kitchen. Like they had all this alcohol at her house, but her friends thought they were like getting shots from her.
Uh-huh.
But then they were like
Water.
they were like all watered down and stuff, and they didn't know.
That was funny.
It was just funny because she was just like, I don't want my friends like getting like so wasted.
Yeah.
But then it was funny because they were acting like
Oh, okay, yeah. So
They-
it had enough in it
they were
that it
like-
still tasted like
they were
alcohol.
like ready to party and stuff. So I never go. I never party. I can't remember if this is junior year. It could have only been junior year or beginning of senior year because of the person I was dating was not there. But the one party I go to, there is two people just like drinking Mike's Hard Lemonades and watching TV in the downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
She was upstairs. I can't remember if there was somebody else there. And then there was just like two people having sex under a blanket on the couch.
Ooh.
And I was like, this is like, I just felt like in my head, I was like,
Just like
Like-
in the movies.
I was like, this is what I'm missing. I just felt like, okay, I think I get it. Like, yeah,
This is the place where no adults are.
yeah. It's like, okay, I get the. And then I just left. I was like, cool. Awesome, everybody.
Yeah. Awesome.
Now, if you would have let me bring that up sort of skillfully instead of out of the blue asking me to tell that story at the end of the podcast, I could have gave it a point.
I did hear a good roast the other day. It said she maybe I shouldn't.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if I could have given it a point, but I would have tried.
Yeah, I thought there was a point.
You didn't let me think of it. I didn't even know it was mine until right before we started this podcast.
I thought it had to do with the church and getting purposefully diddled.
I did do that, but it's not on the list.
Okay.
Wait, did I? Yeah.
I didn't go to any. I
did.
didn't go to any ragers either. I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to figure out what lines to have on the podcast. You know, like,
How do we tell? Like, whose names do we drop?
I mean, I definitely have
Or what do you want it to be rated?
exactly like I do have purposefully diddled church stories, but I just don't know if I want to say them or, you know, talk about them, you know, sometimes.
Right.
Because there's sometimes like I think like, oh man, if I was like a comedian and that was like my job, I could for instance, I could take a purposefully diddle story.
Right.
It's got good elements of
Everyone kind of
church,
yeah.
diddle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's good.
The
like joke.
coming of age story, you know,
Yeah,
trope.
yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's got good elements for like a nice story, but then I'm like, I don't know if I want to be like the purposefully diddle story guy,
Oh yeah.
you know, because I got a few of them, but it's like,
I see what you're saying. You don't want to get pigeonholed into diddling.
it's not really, you know, I have my own internal boundaries.
Rating system.
Yeah. I mean, just call me privately. I'll tell you them all. No.
Phone number is.
Anyways, I just spent a lot of time there. It's almost not because it was church, but I work there. I was at youth group there.
Oh yeah, I used to like if the alarm system wasn't on, I could pretty much like go anywhere in the church, you know.
Yeah. Well, I had the alarm code, so
Yeah. And just you get the longest key you have on your car keys or screwdriver, go down to the outside downstairs gym door. that didn't have a handle on the outside, and you could just unlock it.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just go the right direction through the doors that have pushes or what, and you just go wherever you want.
Okay, we are running up against the clock here, and we have...
Like, subscribe, smash that bell so you get notified.
I hope you enjoyed me reminding you of why you haven't gotten to church since you were a child, because you hate it and you think people are robbing other people of money. So thank you for me allowing to just reinforce that.
Avoiding taxes, but
stereotype.
asking for PPP loans.
Yep. Things like that. And next week, Will is going to bring the funny.
Oh, yeah.
I can't promise you what you're going to get from week
Next
to
week, we're going to talk about the D.
Ooh, can't wait.